Remember that scene in Eat, Pray, Love where Liz Gilbert has everything she thought she wanted, the husband, the career, the life that looks perfect on paper, and she still ends up on the bathroom floor in the middle of the night wondering, is this really it? Yeah, that's the kind of energy that we are in right now. And if you've been feeling something similar in your business lately, like maybe you have everything you've ever wanted, but something is just feeling off. Or it could be the opposite of that, where you're doing all the things, you're checking all the boxes, and things just aren't coming together. I want you to know that there is a deeper reason behind it, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. So today on the podcast, we're going to do a full energy update. We're going to talk about what's happening right now, why it matters for your business, and exactly how to work with it so that you come out on the other side feeling more aligned, more clear, more prepared to make real money. I'm also going to coach you through a few questions that could genuinely shift something for you today. This is going to feel like I'm coaching you personally, and I'm going to leave you with something very simple, this 3-step framework that you can use right now, and you can save it and use it again and again in business. So this is a topic that will set you up for success in your business no matter when you listen to it. So right now, I'm recording this in June of 2026. It does not matter when you listen to it. There is gold in this episode. So even if you find it 6 months from now or a year from now, keep listening because this one is definitely for you as well. So welcome back to the Live Your Yes Life podcast. I'm Lisa Limata. I'm the co-founder of Rise Leadership Circle. And we help entrepreneurs truly live the life that they're a yes for. We help them build the business that funds their yes life. So I lead this company alongside my daughter, Kayla. She's honestly the best business partner that I could have ever imagined. And I'm also so glad that you're here today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So right now in June 2026, we are in a 7 universal month. Now, if you are not familiar with numerology, I'll just give you the quick breakdown. So every single month of the year, there is a collective energy according to numerology, and it's an energy that we're all moving through. And then we also have our own personal timing cycles. We're not going to be talking about that today. We're talking about the collective energy. I have found in my life that working with these cycles has given me so much insight, so many breakthroughs. I recently had a client tell me, as we started looking into her timing cycles and numerology, she's like, before this, I felt like it's almost like my world was black and white. And now seeing this, it's as if everything has come into color. So I love that analogy, and I wanted to leave it with you because that's what's possible when you start to dive into it. Okay, so as I said, we are in a 7 universal month. So let's talk about the energy of the 7. It has one job for you this month, and that job is to pull you toward deeper meaning in your life, deeper meaning in your business. And I'm going to explain why this is so important as we get into July, but I want to go a little bit deeper into this. Okay, so when we are collectively in the 7 energy, we'll experience a call to slow down. You might feel, in a sense, like you just need to go deeper, right? It's not a time to go faster or to be listening to your task list as the master of your life right now. You really need to be listening to your heart and to your soul. You're going to notice just some of the bigger questions that might be surfacing for you right now. Bigger questions about, what you really want to create, the impact that you want to make, why you're doing what you're doing. This is going to be a month where you might feel called to get really honest about why you started this whole journey in the first place. You might feel like staying surface level is feeling a little bit hollow, or as I mentioned, that task list just feels heavy. And maybe just like Liz in Eat, Pray, Love, you're sensing there is something inside of you that really is craving more meaning. And you're desiring that right now more than you're desiring momentum or just creating things to create them. So in all of my coaching and everything that I do with my clients, we always come back to this core universal truth, which is simply a law of the universe. Everything that you create on the outside has to be first created from within. What I really mean by that in simple terms is that whatever actions you're taking need to be fully in alignment on the inside. So what you believe, what you say, what you do has to be in alignment to create the results that you want to create. Otherwise, you just feel like, I don't know, I'm taking all of this action, but for some reason it's not producing what I want it to produce. So this is true in business. We can think about the clients you want to attract, the impact you want to make, but it's true anywhere in life. In your health, in your well-being, in your money, any place that you apply this to your life, we have to always be asking ourselves, am I really seeing this clearly? Am I seeing myself clearly? What do I truly believe about myself? And this is spiritual in nature, I guess you could say, but it actually is a law of the world. It's like gravity. There's never a time that gravity isn't working, right? It is always working. And the same is true. So when we understand this and we start to build everything based on this, it tells us that anytime we want to create a result, we want to create something in our life, we have to start within. We have to start by, what am I believing? What do I know? How am I trusting myself? So when we get into the energy of a 7-month like June, this is not a surface level month, right? It's not asking us to stop. It's not even asking us to go and blow up our whole life, although for some of you, it might be feeling like that. I recently had a client tell me, she said, I feel like, she was comparing it to a remodel. She's like, I literally feel like when we remodeled a room in our home and we had to tear everything down to the studs. She said, that's what I'm feeling right now. I feel like I'm down to the studs. And I have been there in my life. I get it. So if you're feeling that, I get it. I totally understand. But it's not always the case, right? It's not always the case that we need to rip everything down to the studs or that we have to necessarily blow up our entire life. Sometimes it can simply be much more subtle, where it's just time to get back to what really matters. So that is definitely the energy that we're all in some way or another having some experience of in June of 2026. So if you're in the camp of feeling like you've been taking a lot of effort, someone recently said this to me, like, I have literally been doing all of the things every single day and taking every step I know to take. But it's like, I'm frustrated because it feels like nothing is landing. When that is happening for you, it is not always a strategy problem. I know that our logic brains are quick to like, give me a new strategy. What am I doing wrong? But the place I go with my clients first is always like, okay, great. What do you believe? Like, what are you truly thinking and feeling and believing right now about the actions you're taking? And what are you believing about what's possible for you? Because we have to start with your identity. So I feel like, a lot of people are talking about identity right now. It's kind of a buzzword, but this is not just a talking point. Okay, so when I say we start at your identity, what I mean is, we have to start with, how do you see you? How do you see yourself? How do you see what's possible for you? What do you believe? What are the thoughts that you think on repeat in your head? We have to get really clear on what this is. Because if you're trying to build something and you're taking all these actions, but inside you don't actually believe this is going to shift anything or change anything for you, it's a lot like you're sending out a radio frequency, your radio station sending out a frequency, but nobody can hear it, or not the right people can hear it, because what you're actually broadcasting is what you think and believe, not the actions that you're taking. So this month of June is really asking you to take a deep look at what you actually believe. What do you believe about who you are? What do you believe about what's possible for you? And truly, what is the calling you feel on your heart? Are you really letting yourself live into that calling, to acknowledge that calling? And if you're not clear what it is, this is going to be a month that's asking for that clarity. So if you and I were sitting together in a coaching conversation right now, these are some of the questions that I would be asking you, okay? So if you want, you could grab your journal, And you could sort of pause the episode and journal along. But I am going to drop these questions for you in the show notes. So if you're listening to this on the go, you can absolutely come back to the show notes, grab these, and then spend some time in your journal later. Okay, so here's one of the things I would absolutely ask you if we were coaching together. What would you do differently if you trusted your inner knowing as much as your strategy? Let me say that again. What would you do differently if you trusted your inner knowing? In other words, what you know to be true inside, as much as you trust your strategy. This question is so revealing because we do get programmed to follow the logic, to follow the strategy, to follow the XYZ steps that the expert gave you that is guaranteed to work. And yet, if that strategy is going up against a belief that you're holding, or if it's feeling off in some kind of way, then things are just not going to land. What happens when you trust yourself, when you focus on that alignment first and you begin to trust that, this is where it kind of feels like business gets a bit magical. And it's not as it's very simple, but it's not as easy as it may sound. I spend a lot of time really helping my clients come to this place of trusting what they know to be true. All right, so here's question number 2 I would ask you if we were in a session together. So knowing that the work you're doing right now is setting you up for your most powerful season yet, what is the inner work you know you need to focus on right now? Okay? Knowing that the work you're doing right now is setting you up for your most powerful season yet, what is the inner work you need to focus on right now? The reason I'm asking this question is because if you're listening to this in real time, in June of 2026, and we are all in this collective energy of going deeper instead of faster, of the invitation to go within, what it's actually doing is it's setting us up for July, which is an 8 universal month. So the 8 follows the 7 because the 7, the energy of the 7, is what we have to walk through so that we're ready for the 8, okay? Now, I'm going to say a little bit about the 8 universal month in a little bit, but what I want you to understand is that as we step into July, as you step into what's next, no matter when you're listening to this, the energy of the 8 is the energy of the wealth builder. It is very much in connection to building material wealth and to monetizing your creation out into the world. So it's inviting us to get really clear, to get really tapped into what is meaningful, to what is our truth, to trusting ourselves so that we can get it out into the world and monetize it from this place of alignment. Because when you're in full alignment with your thoughts, your beliefs, the actions that you're taking, this is when you're going to feel like your sales begin to become a lot more effortless. Okay, now let me get to question number 3. If I stripped away the revenue goals and the metrics, right? If you stripped away the revenue goals and the metrics that you've been thinking about, what would matter to you most about your work? If you weren't thinking about revenue, you weren't thinking about goals, you weren't thinking about anything other than the work itself, what would matter to you most? Give yourself some time with these questions. They are deep questions for a reason, and they're really going to help you mine and excavate what is true for you this month. So let me get into the energy of July. So I think this is going to air, this episode will air on June 16th, and I probably won't be back with another energy update for, at least until the middle of July. So I wanted to make sure you understand this bridge between June and July because it's really, really important, okay? So July's energy is a whole different feel. And June is the foundation. It's like if we are building a house, we need the energy of what we're doing in the month of June in order for this house to be strong and steady and to weather any storm that could come up, okay? So let's talk about the energy of the number 8. This is there's no bad number, there is no, best number in numerology, but number 8 is a powerful number. It's the number of manifestation. It's the number of material wealth. It's the number of the CEO, the entrepreneur. Now, here's a good way to remember this. I want you to think about the symbol of the number 8. It's kind of like that infinity symbol, if you will. And it has 2 circles stacked on top of each other. Think of this like 2 windows. There's the top window that looks out into the spiritual realm, or you could say the quantum. This is the vision, okay? It's receiving those visions, turning it into your calling. And then there's this bottom window. This bottom window looks out into the physical realm, the 3-dimensional world that we inhabit, right? And so it really speaks to being able to access both. That visionary energy, being able to take original ideas and then manifest them and monetize them in the physical realm. That's the energy of the 8. So remember that to help you remember that symbol. Every time you look at the number 8, it will help you remember what the core of this energy is, okay? So let's talk about what this means for your business. So the 8 energy is really extraordinary at taking what lives within your vision. So think your passions, your inspired ideas, your calling, as we've been talking about, and bringing it to life in this world, right? And being able to actually turn it into wealth, to monetize it, to put it out into the world. And this is really, really important because this is how we actually help people, right? For those of you listening who are entrepreneurs doing your soul work in the world, the way that we actually help people the most is when we are able to have them buy our goods and services when it's aligned. If all we're ever doing is working for free or putting free things out, people don't truly get the real transformation that's possible. You know this. The clients who invest in you are the clients whose lives are changing, who are seeing, the biggest return on investment, if you will. Like, we've got to be able to monetize to truly get our work out in the world, and so that you can sustain to continue to doing this work, to living the life that you're here to live. Doing this work, being in the energy of the 8, requires courage. And the reason I say this is because it requires that you take the work that is like your deepest work, the meaningful work that you do. And when you get honest with it and you make it visible out into the world, it can feel like some of your most tender work, the truest version of you getting to be seen out into the world. And so it does require us to step up and have courage as we begin to monetize the work. So the energy of the 8 is very, it's very authentic in a sense. It invites you to be courageous, to be visible, to make invitations for people to actually have the experience of working with you so you can make the difference that you're here to make. And there's a huge payoff to paying attention and doing the work with this energy in June and going into July. And that is that those of you who do the work now, you will walk into this energy prepared. Your work is going to be more potent, and also you're going to be ready to receive. There isn't going to be something wonky in your energy field that is blocking the receiving that is ready to come in. So please don't skip the potency of this season. It is so, so powerful. Okay, so I want to also, before we end this episode today, I want to give you a really short framework that you can use, because like I said, I want you to feel like when you come to my podcast, you're getting a little coaching session with me, as if you and I were coaching together. So I'm going to leave you with a framework that you can do. It's simple, it's tangible. You can carry it with you basically from one energy into the next. And you can use this in your business or in your life again and again and again to gain clarity, okay? So 3 steps, that's it. And I will also put this in the show notes for you. So again, if you're listening on the go back and grab this. Okay, so once you've answered the initial coaching questions I gave you, you've done your work in June. This is what I want you to use as you get towards the end of the month, as you're stepping into July, or truly whenever this feels good for you, okay? Step number 1 of this framework, and by the way, I'm calling this the identity to action framework. Step number 1 is about what you've discovered. So what belief or what truth surfaced for you in this season? Again, use this in whatever season you happen to be in. What belief or what truth surfaced for you in this season? What did you learn about who you are, what you're building, why it matters? You want to write it down. You want to be clear. You want to let this be your foundation that carries you forward, okay? Step number 2 is what you're deciding. So based on what you've discovered, what identity claim are you stepping into? So this is not about who you hope to be someday. It's really about who you're deciding to be right now. You're grounding, you're getting aligned, you're making a declaration about the truth of who you are. And this is where you're really clarifying your beliefs. And then step number 3, lastly, is about what you're doing, okay? So the question here is, what is the one courageous action you're taking into your next season from that place of grounded identity? And this is not 10 actions, this is 1. I want you to get clear. What's your one courageous action you're taking as you step into July or whenever you listen to this, okay? So this is going to be the one most aligned with who you just declared yourself to be. This is the one move that you are committed to making. And this is exactly how inner work becomes outer results. It's how you get into this place of clarity where suddenly you realize you're no longer spinning, but you're actually available to start receiving for the work that you're doing. So this is just a snippet of the work that Kayla and I do every single day, every single week with our clients, is helping them really get clear on the truth of who they are and to take action and to create strategy from that place. So I have something really, really special for you. If this episode resonated for you, if you are ready to monetize bigger in July or whenever you're listening to this. So I want to tell you what we created to help you in this moment that you're in. So it's called the Sales Lab. I want to give you access to the Sales Lab. It is only $27. This is a course that we created. We just let it live a few months ago. We sold it for $597. We're offering it to you for $27. This is for you to activate your mindset, the energetics, what we just talked about today, and strategy. So you can literally 3x your sales. You can use our signature cringe-free sales system. This is the same system that we have used to generate over $4 million in our business. So let me tell you a little bit more. If the thought of cold pitching in the DMs makes you want to hurl, but you want to make a difference for other people, if you want to help them, but you're like, I do not want to be sleazy, I don't want to be greedy, I don't want to sell, I'm actually here to be of service. Here's the good news for you. You do not have to be salesy. And the thing is, when people hire you, you get them amazing results, right? But it's important that you win too, okay? So we want to help you do the work that you love without ever having to feel inauthentic, without ever having to follow a script that is not feeling like you. This is about aligned sales, okay? So as I said, we're talking about the energetics and the strategy of attracting and receiving clients instead of chasing them down. So we're going to take you through our signature framework step by step. And for $27, you do get lifetime access to all 14 of these modules. A recommendation is to go through it in a 7-day sequence, but you can take as much or as little time as you want to. I'm going to go through this really quick. I'll just give you a snapshot of some of the things that we're going to cover, okay? We're going to get into the philosophy of sales as service. So the thing is that sales is something you do for people, not to them. And I'm really going to rearrange the way that you've thought about sales forever after this module. We're going to help you really look at your online presence, whether you're online or whether you have a brick and mortar space. We're going to help you curate a very intentional, energetic space for your business, okay? And so that people feel exactly what you want them to feel at every point of contact that they have with you. This This is what instantly lets them know that you're the person that they want to purchase from. And we're going to help you map this all out, get really clear. We're going to get into your identity. We're going to go really deep on some of the work that you and I just were talking about today. We're going to get into some of the quantum mechanics if you're like me and you love to get a little quantum in your business. And then we're going to talk about the fact that if you're not selling, you're not serving. Okay, we're going to reframe avoiding selling. Instead of it feeling like fear, you're going to start to feel that sales is actually one of the most generous things you can do. Okay, so we're going to go really deep on all of that. We're going to help you know exactly how to have that conversation. So we're reframing a sales conversation to a service conversation. And we're going to walk you through what we created from the very beginning of our business called the Divine Profit Formula. We're going to get into why energetic alignment is 80% of your results and how from that we generate the inspired actions we take, opening up to being able to receive. Okay, so I know this is getting long. I would love to tell you even more, but here's what I really want to help you understand is that if you want to completely shift your relationship with sales forever, if you want to have a repeatable system that is both understanding the identity that you're selling from and the beliefs that you're holding and how that is shaping the way that you're able to serve people, and then the actual tangible strategy and a system that you can use going forward, this is going to help you do all of that. It is $27. I'm so excited to offer this for you. All you have to do is grab the link below this episode. You'll get instant access. And I am just really excited for you to take this on, for you to take on the coaching questions, the framework that I gave you here, and all of the things that we have done together in this episode. So I'm going to end it right here. As always, reach out, send me an email, send me a DM on Instagram. Let me know if this episode touched you in some way. And please be sure to subscribe and follow along. It means so much to us. Okay, we'll see you next time on the Live Your Yes Life podcast.